I'm concerned that Oklahomans may be duped for a second time by Joy Hofmeister. Tuesday we have the election coming up, and this lady has duped us once into electing her as Superintendent of Education for the state of Oklahoma. I was involved at KFAQ when she first ran for Superintendent of Education, and I knew then that this lady was an empty suit, that she should never have been elected Superintendent of Education. At that time we were 49th, and we were told 49th or 48th is not good enough. 48th, 49th, who cares? In the time she has been in the last 6 to 8 years, our education has not improved. In fact, I would say we've slipped a notch. When the pandemic hit, she advocated masking up, shutting down the schools. It was up to the governor of the state of Oklahoma to leave it up to independent school districts to make up their own mind. We had districts left open, we have districts that chose to close. This superintendent fought the governor when he wanted to have audits for the state educational system. He wanted an audit, especially Tulsa, and she fought against it. She does not want the audit to take place. This superintendent of education now switched parties from Republican, where once again I said we were duped. She has now switched to become a Democrat and has asked us to elect her to the highest position, the executive officer of the state of Oklahoma. I say we cannot, we should not give her that title of governor of the state of Oklahoma. Her campaign is built on lies. Her ads show very colorful, beautiful clips of her with children, smiling, happy faces, and families. If you look at them and check closely, it does not deal with the real issues facing the state, the budgets, the bringing in businesses, dealing with school closures, dealing with unions, dealing with the harsh realities of education. There's not one mention of raising test scores, of increasing the level of education for the children of Oklahoma. That's not mentioned. All we see is rosy pictures of little children. It almost reminds me of a Jehovah's Witness ad, is what this reminds me of. We cannot give this lady a chance to ruin the state as she, to me, in my opinion, has ruined education in the state of Oklahoma. Not only am I upset and worried and concerned about the state of Oklahoma nationally, Democrats, their entire campaign everywhere is built upon lies. The campaign, the ads against the governor of this state, as they are with the campaigns against every Republican running in every state, are built on lies. You have dark money after dark money after dark money in every state against the Republican candidate. Millions upon millions of dollars from education associations, unions, from tribes, from labor unions, all of this money coming against Republicans. Republicans are trying their best to reverse the situation that we're facing in America, which is very dire. High crime, high drugs, high inflation, immigration. Ladies and gentlemen, our nation is in peril. You know it, I know it. To try to ignore it spells doom for our nation. We cannot ignore this. I implore you to please, please look at the facts, look at everything. I don't care what you think about your governor or what you're hearing on the news about your governor, because I know that is forming your opinion. We have got to look at the facts, the real facts of what he has to deal with, what he has been dealing with, what our Republican officials have been dealing with. We have a democratically led Senate. We have a leadership in Congress, in the House, led by the Democrats. The president is a Democrat. And what has happened in the last 2.5 years that Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer have led the nation. They control all three offices, the executive office and the legislature. Fortunately, thank God, we control the judicial branch of the Supreme Court, or we'd be in even deeper water. But because they control those two branches, we have seen our nation really, really suffer. Our energy is suffering, our energy industry, our prices, our everything is suffering greatly. During the campaign, if you will remember, Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for him, to black people, if you don't vote for him, you're not black. So I guess I'm not black. These are just among the many lies and things that he has spoken throughout history. They try to rewrite history. They're now trying to say Republicans are the racists. I want to remind you, the Republican Party was formed to end slavery. It was formed to end slavery, people. You'll have to trust me. Go back and read your history books. It was formed in 1856 to end slavery, all right? That's when the party was formed by Democrats who left and independents who decided they wanted to end slavery. That was out of the platform. There were 9 points to the platform. I believe 7 of those points were abolitionist points to the original platform of the Republican Party to end slavery. The Ku Klux Klan was the terrorist arm of the Democrat Party. Jim Crow, which came in later after the Civil War, was, again, to counter Reconstruction, to counter the effects of the end of slavery, to once again semi-enslave black people in the South. Segregation, again, Democrat Party. Robert Byrd was a member of the Ku Klux Klan. The Dixiecrats, which a lot of people don't, they always try to make it look like the Dixiecrats were Republicans. All of the Dixiecrats ended up going back into the Democrat Party. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed with the help of the majority Republicans, fought against by the Democrats, including one Al Gore Sr., the father of Al Gore. They don't want you to know that. On and on and on. It has been the Democrats who were the enemy of civil rights. They finally figured out how to play this game, and that is through gerrymandering. What they've done is they've told the black community, you play ball with us, we will let you rule your districts. Have you ever wondered how, for example, every little black area, every black district in a state, in a city, is led by a black leader? But you don't see many, if hardly any, black leaders running cities, counties, states. You might see them run a city where there's a huge black density in the metropolitan area of the city, but you don't find them in a very integrated community. It's because they've made a deal. We will fund you, but you keep your people in line. You keep your people in line. It's like overseers. They have become overseers. And that is how the Democrat Party rules and works. Black Republicans who take office tend to be in areas that are mixed, that are mainly populated by majority whites, because, as Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. So anyway, I just want to say this. The Democrat Party is not your friend. They're not your friend. They're trying to reshape America, and we have got to stop it. They are trying to turn us into the opposite of a democratic. They've been throwing the word democracy around like it's free gifts on bingo night or something. They have actually degraded the word democracy. They mean the exact opposite of democracy. They mean what they want it to be. They rule, they tell you what it is, and then you do what they want, and that's democracy to them. It's not true democracy. True democracy is freedom of thought, freedom of expression, which is what we used to have. Less and less are we able to experience true democracy because people are being imprisoned in America, if you can believe it, being imprisoned for speaking out, for protesting. If you're a Republican, if you go against the Democrats, you are now going to jail. If you go against Republicans, oh, nothing to see here. The year before January 6th, back in 2000, if you will recall, there were riots everywhere. There were just riots, burning, looting, even in 2021. 2020 and 21, there were lootings, burning, rioting in major cities, Seattle, Chicago, Portland, all over, New York. It continued even till, I think early this year, we were seeing it in Philadelphia and places. Those people back out on the streets. The January 6th protesters, although no one was killed, nothing was stolen, the amount of damage, though wrong, I'm not trying to say it was right, but the amount of damage was minimal compared to what happened throughout from 2020 to 2022. Those people are still in jail today. So you see, there are two tiers of law in this country right now. It will get worse. It will get worse if we do not stop it. And the way to stop it is to take away the power from the Democrat Party. We've got to do it. And you can do it this Tuesday. This Tuesday is the time to let your voice be heard. And the best way to do it is just to vote right at the top of the ballot, straight ticket, Republican. And if you don't like somebody in the ticket, just deal with it right now, and we'll straighten that out later, okay? We can straighten that out, but we have got to regain the majority so that we can put in place the policies and start creating committees to deal with the corruption that's going on. So, having said that, that's it, and we're going to go ahead and start the rest of our show. All right, Dave, we're starting with a little Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Running up that hill.
Yes.
So how was your week?
It was mostly good.
Mostly good.
Yes, and the things that weren't, I didn't vote for. You know, that's the theme of the Hofmeister and dark money people. Well, I voted for Stitt, but I didn't vote for pimples. You know, I voted for Stitt, but I didn't vote for that tornado that hit.
Yeah, like he causes the fires in town, huh?
Or all my age-related issues. You know, I wasn't as much of a gray-haired guy when I elected Stitt, and look what happened. You know, that's the asinine idiocy of these commercials.
But what gets me, I had people in my office yesterday, and people are buying it. I mean, there's people actually buying some of this stuff that's Stitt, he's a bad guy, he's this and this, and it's kind of funny to me. Well, now, I don't want to say to their credit, but one of the things that might attribute this attitude to is the fact that they were Native American. They were Choctaw. They were
they're tribal members.
Right, tribal members.
Yeah. Unlike the rest of us Native Americans. Yes.
Well, that is true. Yeah. You speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. I'm African.
Well, no, you were born an American citizen.
Right, but I wasn't born here.
That's true.
So I'm not native to America. I'm native
you're not
to
born here.
Deutschland.
But you were born. Weren't you not born on U.S. territory?
No.
You weren't born in the Army base.
No, I was born in a little German village.
That's
in a
right.
house.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, boy,
like Dr. Strange.
You know,
remember Dr. Strange? He was trying to fight his arm, and his arm kept on it.
Back in the 30s, that's how our school kids did the pledge.
Did they really?
Yeah, we quit doing that.
Oh, really? Before,
yeah.
See, you learn something when you watch fresh Black.Coffee.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you listening in podcast land, I'm throwing up the Heil Hitler salute and doing a Dr. Strange where he's fighting his arm to keep it down. But so seriously, so we were doing a Heil salute.
Not only us, but the American Indian tribes generally, and this wasn't just within Lakota or Chippewa, it was a general. When you came in peace, you saluted who you came. That was how the
you know,
tribes
I seem to remember movies seeing the Indians do that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so, you know, it was a sign of respect from a distance.
Right.
Because back in those days, you wanted them to know the nature of your approach before you got close enough to their own.
And I think it came from Rome. I think if you go back and watch some of the old Roman movies, you see them doing that to Caesar, Hail Caesar, or whatever. Yeah. And I'm sure that's where the Germans got it from, and everybody else, you know, saluting. It was just a salute.
Yeah,
and so we changed it to this salute later.
Well, our military does.
Right.
Right.
Have they always done it this way?
Right, but when we applied it to the pledge, it was hand on heart.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So our pledge used to be...
With the hand raised, yes.
Oh.
Yes.
See, there's a difference. This is a hand raised.
But that's a military or pseudo-military thing, the salute. I mean, the oath is like this. Yes. Right. You're right, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Huh. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, it's, you know, most people who would call somebody a fascist don't even know what the textbook definition of fascism is.
Oh, that's true. You're right. That's what gets me. Again, you know, the Democrats have so, hopefully unsuccessfully, I hope it's unsuccessful, degraded the word democracy. You know, I spoke about this month. I saw what was happening. You know, I've spoken many times about cult tactics.
Right. Now, keep in mind, they use the term our democracy.
Right, our democracy, right. But that's what they've done. See, they've tried to co-opt the word democracy and make it theirs.
Yeah, it means our regime.
Right. Right. And so because democracy seems to be a sacred thing to Americans, but they want to make it theirs and apply only to them. And Tucker nailed it last night. Those of you that watch Tucker or don't watch Tucker Carlson, you can on YouTube if you want to watch, because YouTube will have last night's monologue. And he discusses that, and he nails it just like I do on how they've taken the word democracy and basically just corrupted it, because what they're saying is democracy is not really democracy, it's demagoguery. They basically want you to obey their rules. It's their rules, what they want you to do. That's democracy. If you don't do what they want you to do, it's not democracy. And they just want obedient children is what they want. And if you don't do that, then, you know, off to jail with you or worse. So and we can't allow this. We cannot allow this. Our nation hangs in the balance. It truly hangs in the balance. And look, let's leave Trump out of this, okay? They like to throw Trump out there because they fear him. They fear Donald Trump more than you know, children fear Dracula, you know, or because he is the first one to really expose all of this. He is the anti Dracula, I mean, if you will. You know, he's the antithesis of everything that the democratic socialists want to do. Love America first. See, they want the one world government. I mean, it's a true thing. They try to poo-poo it, but they truly are moving to a one world government. That's why they're feeling that Ukraine is such an important thing, because they want you to buy into this. They want to dominate Russia, get Russia out of the way, and make one Europe, one world, eventually Asia, one Asia, all of this. They want a one world government, and Russia is in the way.
Yeah,
they want to dominate that.
Nationalism in any way it manifests itself is in their way.
Right. And you had kind of three nations on 3 continents: Europe, South America, and America. You had United States of America. You had Brazil, and you had Hungary in Europe. And Brazil, it looks like, has fallen now. They're fighting a battle which America has gotten involved in with the Chinese to usurp. Now they have basically a communist leader that they have kind of finagled to get in there. The people are protesting and fighting, but it's going to probably go the way of Venezuela. So you will have an entire continent of South America become communist, socialist, or whatever you want. To me, there's an inch of difference between socialism and communism. I mean, but so that will be communist. Eventually, Europe will become socialistic, what they call social democrats, and if America falls, that'll be the last domino.
I want to give you a case in point on that.
Okay.
The European Union.
Yeah.
Nigel Farage, early on, was very much against it. He got himself elected to one of the seats that Great Britain was allotted. They were able to send, the United Kingdom. And he was a lonely voice at first, but every time the elections came up, he got elected, and he got more and more allies. His very last presence in that forum room, I don't know if they were in Brussels or Paris, but anyway, when he finished giving his speech, where he famously said, "You may not like populism, but I tell you this, it's getting very, very popular." And then he and his allies for Brexit all pulled out their Union Jack flags, little one on their desk. And they all started waving them in defiance, because do you know the rules of the European Union? No nation flag could be even seen in that room.
Wow.
None. And he was shut down. They killed his mic, and the woman at the podium says, "If you're going to leave, leave and take your silly flag with you."
Take your silly flag.
Yes. And that's the beauty of it, because that is something they're just very, very fearful of. Nationalism. And they will demean it, they will demonize it.
Yeah. And they will try to associate it with Nazism. But see, what's so funny to me is they want to demonize the term nationalism, but they don't want to say anything about the last two words, which is socialist party.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what see, people don't understand. They think Nazi means, most people don't know what Nazi means, period. It just means racist. Okay, that's the only Jew hater. They think Nazi is Jew hater. It's a German word for Jew. No. Nazi is National National Sozialistische Partei, okay? So the National Socialist Party is what it's German, the short version of national, like instead of the Democrat Party in America, you would call them Democrats, okay? So instead of calling it the National Socialist Party, it's just Nazis.
Yeah.
Okay? That's all it means, National Socialists. And they want to focus on the nationalist part, but nobody ever wants to focus on the socialist part.
Right, and here's how, about a year ago, they really launched into it in the mainstream media. They kept referring to white nationalism.
White nationalism.
It means if you love your country, if you're a nationalist, you're a racist.
Right. They don't want to say anything about, how about white socialists?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a beautiful one.
Because,
okay, let's say Democrats are white socialists.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what they are, right?
Well,
that's what AOC's bunch are.
Yeah, but remember Malcolm X? That was what he warned is the biggest danger to the black community is the white liberal.
The white liberal.
Yeah.
That's right. So anyway, fear the white socialists,
yeah.
Okay? Okay.
So here's where we got off on this rabbit trail was you were talking about people that you talked to who are buying this Joy Hofmeister ad.
Yeah, and a lot of them they've really affected the Native Americans because the Native Americans now feel threatened by
Kevin.
Where did he call me Mark?
Yeah.
Kevin Stitt, forgetting the fact that he is a Cherokee. Mm-hmm. Okay, he is.
They are questioning his citizenship openly.
Well, yeah, that's like Joe Biden questioning my blackness.
Yeah,
right. I mean, sorry, Joe, but you don't get to question my blackness. Mm-hmm. Right? That's not up to you.
Yeah.
You look at my birth certificate; it'll say Schwarz, which is black for German for black.
Yeah.
But listen, it's a tragedy that all of a sudden, and this is how Democrats work again. See, Republicans and Democrats are different. Okay, in the Republican Party, you can be different. We may talk about you like a dog, but we'll call you a rhino or something, but we won't try to lie about you or something. And disavow, you know what I'm saying?
There are some that do, some that succumb to that.
Well, yeah, I would call those not true Your basic Republican, like we would just differ in our opinion.
Right, yeah, but we're not caught up in groupthink like they are.
Right, well, yeah, and now, see, there's a difference. Let's say a Joy Hofmeister, who would truly be a rhino.
Yeah.
And it's proven because she now is no longer a Republican. She's a Democrat. It usually plays itself out.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say somebody is not a Republican because they don't share my view on Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. Okay? You may uphold the ideals of the party, and you just, for example, a lot of Republicans are upset with Donald Trump's language, right?
Yeah, the social conservatives, many of us believe they're kind of beneath the decorum.
Right, exactly. And I forgot to do this. Great. All right.
I was wondering what that pause was.
Oh, man. Okay.
That explains the bad audio of the last 15, 20 minutes.
Yes. Hopefully we were speaking loudly enough for it to come through. So.
Well, no, it actually picked it up, but I've got a distorted version now that I'm going to rely on. So sorry about that.
Yeah.
But it was so good you had to listen anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I was so excited about everything I forgot to hit record on the audio. Okay, but Democrats tend to distort the entire person. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. For example, Dave and we disagree. You may not have picked it up, but I'm just going to let you in on a little secret. We disagree a lot.
He likes to call me a pothead just because I voted for 788.
That's just one of the things, you know.
Tell me how you really feel, Eddie.
Yeah, right. So we tend to disagree a lot. But I don't question his republicanism, okay? Mm-hmm. His conservatism. You know, we disagree on this. He didn't vote for Trump. He was a
in
Ted
the primary,
Cruz,
right?
Right. He was a Ted Cruz guy. Mm-hmm. I was a Ben Carson guy initially. I went to Trump early, and we ended up in the same place eventually. You know, within the state, we may have differed on different. Like I started out, he was Ryan Walters. I was John Cox. Mm-hmm. Supporter. In the end, it washed out. We both ended up with totally Ryan Walters supporters, okay? Because it proved itself out. But in the Democrat Party, you know, it's my way or the highway. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's my job to demonize and totally obliterate you if you don't see it exactly, if you don't goose step and lockstep and everything like that. It gets real ugly.
If you don't believe what Eddie's saying, Exhibit 1, Tulsi Gabbard. She deigned to speak outside of the narrative. What did they do to her?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. They just try to destroy her. I mean, it's like destroy. You know, like Joy Hofmeister, as I said, I've seen her as a rhino, from the beginning. Mm-hmm. I didn't support her. Whatever, we gave her a chance. She took office. She proved what she was. Okay, yeah. So, but I never, wanted to call her names or this or this. But then she switched parties, and then I saw what she truly was. Most of Oklahoma should have seen what she truly was. Another one who really is showing his colors, that I've always had a discernment that he isn't really who we pictured he was, is J.C. Watts, who's now come out the other way. Okay? Yeah. He's one that, but generally, you can waver within. I don't want to get too far afoot, or we'll just lose the whole train of thought. Right.
No, J.C. Watts is an issue I want to bring up later in the show.
But basically, what we're trying to say is we're in a critical time. We're in a crucial time.
Yeah.
And for us to really get our country back, for us to really focus on our state, our nation, get our children educated properly, we're not going to do it. You cannot worry about casinos, people. You cannot worry about the McGirt decision that the tribes have jurisdiction over people, and you don't trust law enforcement in the state of Oklahoma to enforce if somebody gets raped and the person who may have done it or not done it is a member of the tribe, that they're not going to look. This isn't 1790 or 1860 or 1870 anymore, where white man's justice isn't like this. If that's the case, every Native American should leave the city and move on the reservation. Okay, you cannot have Abraham Lincoln, quoting the scripture, basically said, "No nation divided against itself shall prosper." Jesus said, "No house divided against itself shall prosper." Abraham Lincoln took it, "No nation divided against itself shall stand, shall prosper."
Yeah.
And it's the truth. We cannot have an Indian nation, a black nation, a Hispanic nation, an Islamic nation, and then an Anglo nation. You cannot do it. It will not work. If you got this one working against this one, Native Americans do not necessarily care about the needs of black people, okay? I'm just going to tell you a little secret. Black people could give a rip about American Indians, okay? Hispanics
could. Well, that's their former slave masters.
Yeah. Hispanics could give a rip about black folks. Black folks could give a rip about Hispanics, okay? And Asians are left out there somewhere floating around. They don't care. You say, y'all work it out. We're going to get our kids to MIT and Harvard. We're going to own all of you.
Yeah.
In the best.
Yeah.
So while these people down here bickering and bittering and worrying about McGirt and we want the casino money. We want the casino money. You're losing your whole state. Mm-hmm. What does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul?
Yeah.
And this, we've got to stop. We got to stop. And Joy Hofmeister, you really think this lady is going to do independently the things? Well, first of all, I don't think she has a plan. She has no plan. She doesn't know what she's going to do. No one has actually asked her, well, Joy, what is your plan for this, this, or this? She just basically wants to get in the office, and then she will have, like Joe Biden handlers, people come in and tell her what to do. The OEA, the tribes, and different interest groups will run the state of Oklahoma, and then it'll be kind of on autopilot on that, and you'll see it going just like this. Just
yeah.
Like this.
Can I I want to get into something here. When Kevin Stitt ran last time, I think the governor's race was like about a $5 million budget for a campaign to win.
Yeah, I remember it was $5 million.
Yeah, and there was not a whole lot of outside money involved in it. This time, I've seen for the last couple of years, all of this hit money in TV, radio, blasting Stitt. The last count I got, I think we're approaching $30 million.
$30 million, yep.
In outside money.
That's just the outside money.
Yeah.
That's the outside, not the candidates' money itself.
Okay. The tribes and the casinos that fund much of the tribes have not, to my knowledge, denied being part of that $30 million expenditure. Let me ask you this. If the outside money is like 8-1 money being spent, and it's being spent by a particular special interest group, aka something like casinos or tribal or things like that, you have to ask, if they're willing to spend that money to own one office, then how much more money is at play? Now, the casinos are a problem in Oklahoma, and the media won't tell you about it because they need that casino money propping up their media outfit. Whether it's channel whatever, TV or radio, they won't criticize and they won't expose the gambling addiction problem that is destroying our state. This is what you're voting for. Now, if Joy Hofmeister gets there, do you really think, given that all this outside money got her to running our public school system, and what have you heard from leadership from her? Nothing. Crickets. There could be pornography in most of our big city public schools. Have you heard her talk about it? Now, you've heard Ryan Walters show leadership, but nothing from Hofmeister. Or the Wildcat strike of 2018. Did you hear anything from Hofmeister, whose job it was to hold them accountable for keeping our schools open? Again, it was an illegal walkout, a Wildcat strike. They should have all lost their jobs over it. Hofmeister said nothing because they own her. Do you really want that in the governor's office? There, I've had my rant.
No, yeah, she'll be bought and paid for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, she is bought and paid for it. Yeah, I mean, it's just simple. You cannot have $20 million and ultimately $30 million.
Yes.
Towards.
So what you're doing, if you elect Joy Hofmeister, you're electing the tribes to run the state.
And teachers.
Yes, right.
Two entities.
Yeah.
And who knows what else, what other Democrat money is coming in from the National Democratic Party, because I've heard there's money from Hollywood and everything coming into the state to change other things.
Yeah.
Probably to affect our, the abortion laws and everything else that's going on.
But, Eddie, I don't think it's the kind of money muscle, that the tribes
no.
And
the overwhelming amount, sure, is still going to be the tribes and the teachers unions.
So
sure.
I've been around Oklahoma politics enough to know this. There were two governor's races the tribes got involved in. In 1990, they got David Walters elected because they needed a piece of legislation in a compact so they could have bingo. They got that. And then 12 years later, they got Brad Henry in because he was going to give them full casino gambling. That's the only time they get involved, is if they need something or they feel that something's being threatened. Yeah. Stitt threatened their monopoly. This unconstitutional, this racist, this Jim Crow casino compact we got needs to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, and I looked at the taxation of the casinos, okay? Other states, Florida, I think Pennsylvania, there's Massachusetts, there's other states that have them. And when you look at the amount being paid by other states, it's about 10% more than our tribes are paying.
Right.
And he was just trying to get it more equitable up to what the other states are paying, and they're having fits.
Well, and it's what it is in Oklahoma. When we allowed them to do class 2 gaming and that, and even the bingo, It wasn't that we taxed it, because we have constitutionally, the federal Supreme Court said you can't tax it. What they're paying is an exclusivity fee. That meant we will give you the entire industry by making it illegal for anyone else. Black men can't own casinos, okay? Irishmen can't own casinos. That's a Jim Crow law. And that is, our legislature did that because they were bought by the tribes. And the governor was.
Yeah. And see, the governor's argument is this, okay? They say it's tribal land and therefore we don't owe you anything. I mean, that's their
right.
attitude. The governor's position is, okay, so when you have the food that goes to the Creek Nation, to the Cherokee Casino up here and the Osage Casino, name a casino.
Right.
Okay. To get there, those things have to travel over the state highway.
State roads, yep.
Right? And so who has to pay for those? The rest of the state.
Yeah.
Nobody's kicking in to that.
Yep.
And so, I think it's only fair that if you live in, and that's again where I get to a nation divided, you can't have, let's say all of a sudden, Black Americans, for some time, there's groups out there, Black Americans, who feel that if there are 10%, at one time we were 17, almost 18% of the population. Not anymore. We're like now I think last time I saw it was like 12% and we're dwindling. We're going down towards 10% because especially now, we're probably under 10% now with all of the illegal aliens being allowed in. But let's say 10%. I'm just going to use 10%.
It's 8.5%.
Oh, it's down to 8.
Tribal.
Well,
yeah.
Black.
Oh, the blacks.
No, black. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're about 12, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So let's say, okay. So what if we claim 12% of the nation? That you owe us 12% of the nation. And you carve that out, pick a place, give us some place in Wyoming, Montana, although black people don't like cold, it'd have to be somewhere in the South, southern, so a warmer climate. So let's say you give us 12% of the country, and we don't have to pay tax anymore on that. We get all the benefits. We get to build casinos that people can come to. We get to have party places and luxurious, vacation spots. And then Hispanics come, which are growing. Now, we're probably the country now, I think last time they broke 20%. So now they get their Azatlan, which is the whole southern area down there. They get that place. And then you get the next ones and the next one. You balkanize. It's called balkanization. So what if everybody all of a sudden gets and honestly, Hispanics actually have a right because they did because most of them are part Indian. They're Aztecs, so they have as much right as the Navajo and so forth. They could argue about this part.
Well, they're American Indian as well,
right? Exactly,
because they're North American,
right? So we want this part. And all of a sudden, and they kick, you Chippewa, you weren't here before, you Navajo weren't here, you're gone.
Yeah.
We're not. So I mean, if that started, oh my goodness, can you imagine? And actually, in a way, we're opening the door to all of this.
Yeah, and here's another. We passed 100 and some years ago antitrust laws, right? We broke up Standard Oil Trust, because they were leveraging a monopoly they had in one area and using it to gain a monopoly in another. We most recently, on a pretty large scale, Ma Bell, but then we did that also with even Microsoft, right? Because they were using their operating system to leverage a monopoly on a browser. Right. Okay, I'm saying this to say, Eddie, you and I have been around this town a long time, South Tulsa. There's been some amazing concerts at the Mabee Center over the past several decades. How many have you been to? Unless it was a specific gospel concert, it's not the Mabee Center. It's River Spirit, right? They are leveraging their casino monopoly to price undercut all the other venues in the entertainment auditoriums because they know they just make you walk past the slot machines on the way in. And they'll make up for their loss leader. The same's true with even restaurants. The amount of restaurants down around River Spirit is really collapsed, because they use it as a loss leader to get you in. And this is an antitrust busting. This is corruption on a federal level in a federal case of violating antitrust laws. Needs to be imposed on many of the tribes. I don't know all of them, but I know the ones in Tulsa. I see it.
Yeah. So I mean, on many levels, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And so Governor Stitt sees that there are issues here, and all he was saying is, look, let's sit down, let's get this worked out, let's work out a true agreement here and get this thing settled. And that's been unable. And so what the tribe's wanting to get rid of him and put someone in place that's their puppet, that they can mold and do with what they want. And here's the problem. If they succeed, if they get rid of him and put in their puppet, I doubt you'll ever be able to get them out. Get a change. You won't. And the state will lose. The state will lose out. And I just hate to say that. And listen, I have nothing against the tribes. I have nothing, you've heard me talk about the Lakota. I think we just talked about the Lakota maybe a week or two ago.
Yeah.
That, to me, the spirit of the Lakota, of Crazy Horse, I admire that. The Apache, the Lakota, the Navajo, Comanche. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about it because I think they were noble tribes.
Yeah.
And I do. But what we're dealing with now, I admire my forefathers, the Africans that came over and those that worked and built this country. But that doesn't mean I expect Dave to pay me some money for my forefathers that were slaves here in America, right? And things like this, because that was then, this is now. I'm here now. It's up to me to do what I do, and I'm not going to make somebody else pay me for what his ancestors may have done, or cousins of his, or anybody. See what I'm saying? So we've got to start dealing with what's here now and forget about what happened back then. It's good to know that these things happen because it is history, okay? But it's time to let go of past grievances and forgiveness. This is part of my book here. Jesus said, if you do not forgive, neither will your Father in heaven forgive you. And if you're sitting there still holding a grudge and trying to make somebody pay today for something that happened 300-400 years ago, neither will your Father forgive you for what you're doing today or what you've done recently. So you need to let it go.
Can I give you my Irish version of what you just said in tribute to your lineage? My mother was Irish, and in fact, she's from the Reagan clan, the same county Ronald Reagan is from. Okay. Reagan and Reagan are just variations of the same name. Okay. Ronald Reagan, just before he got shot in 81, it was his first St. Patrick's Day. And he was giving a speech over in Alexandria, Virginia, and he asked Secret Service, can you find me an Irish pub? And they found one. And they went in a little bit before he finished up his other speech, and they checked the place out, and he went on in. And, of course, the proprietor said, I got to have, Reagan address. So they hand him a microphone, and he holds up a green beer, and he says, we Irish, we built the jails in this country, and then we filled them. So, it's...
Well, okay, now what does that have to do with forgiveness?
It was a good story and a funny laugh. It was Reagan's wit. But here's the thing. Reagan didn't hold any bitterness for all the abuse of the Irish, and there was considerable.
Yeah.
Right? We all played a part in this country, for better or worse. We all have things we're proud of and things that maybe we're ashamed of or we just forgot about.
Yeah. An example, Chinese.
Yeah.
The Chinese suffered greatly when they came here.
Yeah.
They were as abused and biased against as black people.
Yeah.
You know, like one of the things they did with the Chinese when they were building the railroad and the tunnels, they sent them in with the dynamite and hung them off cliffs and things like that. And that way, if the dynamite nitroglycerin blew up, or it's just a Chinaman. I mean, stuff like that. You know, they gave them the most dangerous job.
Right, because they built the hard part, going over the Cascades and the Rockies.
Exactly. And so, I mean, the Chinese, they had all kinds of reason and grounds to be bitter and so forth. But what did they do? They just went on and decided to take over later economically. I mean, you know, they built themselves up to the point where they're able to compete. It's always looking forward, always seize the day. Carpe diem, right? Carpe diem, seize the day. You don't have time to look back. And that's the problem. And see, this is what the Democrats, this is, again, let's get us back to where we are, that if you spend all your time looking back, which is what the Democrats have got black people, minorities in general, let's just take minorities in general, they like to make you look back. They always want you to look back. Oh, look what you poor thing. Look, you're here because of this back there. And so you're looking back there when Vietnamese boat people, Chinese, Hispanics, they're not worried about look back here. They're looking up here. Look where we're headed.
Yeah.
I remember sitting at my kids' graduation at Union High School, and they're reading off the valedictorian, salutatorian, and all the top. And everyone was a Nguyen or Nguyen, however you pronounce it. They're all Vietnamese. Let me just put it that way. They're descendants of the boat people. And in Youth with a Mission, we worked with boat people in Thailand. The Vietnamese, when they escaped, they went to Thailand, and they had like refugee camps. And then from there, we set up refugee camps in Southern California. And then we ran the refugee camps teaching things like brushing your teeth, washing, how to use the toilet. They used to stand on the commodes because they're used to the French toilets where you stood on them.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but they had to learn how to sit on a toilet. I mean, it sounds crazy, but yeah, you have to teach people how to use a toilet. And so they were taught how to acclimate to American culture. And then within one generation, the children of these Vietnamese boat people are graduating, and 1 and 2 generations later, they're graduating number 1 at UCLA, UC Irvine, Cal Poly, MIT. In fact, it got so bad or so good that now there's reverse discrimination on affirmative action. Now it's before the Supreme Court, in fact, on them limiting Asian admission to these schools of higher learning. Because if they didn't, white people, black people, brown people, whatever, couldn't get in. It would be all Asians in these schools of higher learning. So nobody gave any affirmative action. They didn't even know how to speak English when they got here. They smelled bad because they're used to their Asian foods and their cooking. And they looked odd. They were working as laundry people, housekeepers, street sweepers. They had mundane jobs, and within one generation, they're doctors, they're lawyers, they're business people. They're at the top of the heap.
Yeah, and I gotta say,
let that be an example.
Yeah, my mechanic, case in point, auto mechanic. I came by to pick up my car, and he had a delay. He says, about 15 minutes I'll have it done. So I'm just hanging out there at the shop, and almost all of his clientele is Hispanic. And I started talking to a couple, just being friendly and everything, because they're great guys down there. And I start, trying to improve on my Spanish in some terms. Finally, this one guy standing by, with very broken English, he says, don't speak Espanol. English is opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, one I forgot, a friend of mine, he's probably listening to the podcast now, a pharmacist at Walmart, Vietnamese descendant, and he's a pharmacist. His wife's a pharmacist, and the chief pharmacist at Walmart. And so, I mean, they didn't have they didn't have affirmative action.
Well, look at, your YWAM. I mean, much of what gets YWAM in many countries is if they offer English language services. Right. My son spent time in Istanbul, Turkey.
Actually, you know what our services, what got us in? The UN was running these camps. Oh. What got us in was shoveling human manure.
Yeah.
Because the people, like I said, they weren't used to certain hygiene things. And
right.
So our guys went in with waiters and were willing to do the hygienic cleanups, and we were cleaning out things. And that's what got us
Whatever
in.
Gets
And then once we were in there, so some goody good liberals, they didn't want us there because we were sharing the gospel.
Right.
And so they kicked us out for a while, but all of a sudden everything started going to pot or worse. And so they said, no, we got to get those people back. So they let us back in there.
Right.
And then after that, they realized that it was worth it to let us share the gospel for the service we were doing, that nobody else.
Right.
You know what they always say about the illegal aliens doing the work nobody else wants to do. Yeah, it was worth it to let us preach to let us do the work that nobody else wanted to do.
For my son in Istanbul with YWAM there, that's a city that's 5 times as big as New York.
Oh yeah,
New York
Istanbul
City.
And
and for their opportunities, Turkey wanting to join, be a full-fledged NATO, there's a number of things they just got to do. And they needed those services. Yeah. So they'll put up with you preaching.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do want to talk polling when you're ready.
There was one other thought I had about all that. But anyway, just getting back to everything, we have just got to understand that the Democratic Party, I call them the Democrats, because some of the things that they're trying to pull over on us are demonic. I believe they are truly demonic, because anybody in their right mind would not be trying to do the things that they're trying to do, especially with kids and youth and things like that. We have got to be cognizant of that. And you've got to get over this thing of Donald Trump doesn't talk nice about people. And you've got to remember, Donald Trump is not on the ballot. Okay? Democracy is not on the ballot. Kevin Stitt and Joy Hofmeister are on the ballot. Okay?
Yeah.
Mark Wayne Mullen is on the ballot. And Ryan
Walters.
Ryan Walters is on the ballot.
Yeah.
And on down the line, okay? This crap about, speaking of cleaning latrines, about democracy is on the ballot. All this stuff the Democrats want to use to try to confuse us and make us think no. And listen, the Democrats, particularly Joe Biden, they started their career on lies, and they're continuing to lie. Do not buy the lie. So again, I encourage you, please, if you have not voted, Tuesday, get up bright and early, get ready to wait, because they're very efficient. Have you voted?
Nope, going to do it Tuesday.
Okay. Get there bright and early. They're very efficient. I voted at Hardesty. I mean, I could not believe how efficient it is.
I heard.
I mean, they've got it down. If every state did it like Tulsa, at least where I voted, they are really, really efficient. They do it well. But anyway, the best way to do it, to send a real clear signal, just hit right at the top, straight ticket, Republican, and then the judges. You still have to do the judges, but if you'll hit straight ticket for the main page, it's the best thing you could do.
Yeah, later in the show, let's talk about our maybe top 5 news sources, because I think getting informed before you vote is really important, and
Sounds
there's some
good to
great
me.
resources.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about this polling going on.
Okay.
One of the people that I've come to respect for his polling expertise is Bill Shepard with Sooner Poll. He's been at it a long time.
He did a story this week where he talked about the real difficulties that pollsters are now having. He did talk about the people who are deliberately unwilling to help a pollster. He said there's a very real issue, particularly conservatives, who are afraid of being canceled, so they're keeping their mouth shut, but they will not miss their opportunity to vote. And he said he thinks that's kind of skewing some polls, so he went to more of, he didn't use the term focus group, but he cultivated a group that he felt was a good cross-section, and he tends to go back to them. I don't know if he's paying him. He didn't say he didn't, but we'll see, because his polling really skews in favor of Hofmeister over some of the others. I went to Real Clear Politics, and they show, KOCO TV did a couple of polls. One they showed Stitt was up by 2, and then the next time they did it a month later, showed Hofmeister was up by 1. Emerson really showed Stitt with a 9-point lead here as of about a week ago. KOCO has the most recent, so this is their third poll on this list. They show Stitt back up by 1. So my thing is, if Stitt wins, there's going to be hell to pay for that $30 million of dark money was spent against him. But anyway, so that's the best picture we have. Eddie, we have a great group we visit with once a month, kind of the sausage group at Siggy's. And one of the people attending the meeting a week ago said, and I think it's true, that polls early on, the early polls, like a month out, 3 months out, by the mainstream media, actually serves a dark purpose of trying to discourage and dissuade conservatives, that it's a lost cause. And here's the reason why they get by with it. Because when, after the election, and we score the polls to see who has the most accurate polls, it's only their most recent poll that is actually scored. Mm-hmm. Case in point, KOCO. A week ago, they gave the momentum to Hofmeister. But this last poll, which was done just a week ago, they moved over to say Stitt. So if Stitt wins this by 3 points, they can say, see, he was within our margin of error. We said he'd win, and he won. And you have to be careful about ignoring early polls, because they're used to manipulate you, not inform you. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm off on it.
No, that's good. That's really good. By the way, we got to take part in a Red Wave rally on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday, and that was really good. It was quite interesting. Governor Youngkin, Glenn Youngkin from Virginia, took part in it. He was the keynote speaker, who's a friend of Kevin Stitt.
Yes.
It's interesting because he said something I didn't realize, that when he was first running, Governor Stitt was the first
governor to endorse.
Right, to endorse him, and he met him. They met there in Virginia, took him out for lunch or breakfast or something, and he just supported him right away. But it was kind of interesting, kind of shows the type. But both of them are the same kind. In fact, here's a funny thing. I didn't get the memo. So, I show up and I'm all suited up.
You and me both.
Yeah.
That's old folks.
We're used to old school.
It's our Sunday go to meeting outfits.
It's a new age people. So, they asked me to MC it. So I MC'd the thing. And so I show up in my suit and I get there, and everybody's in basically cowboy attire, jeans,
a vest,
down vests,
and
open collar shirts, and there I am and Dave in suits.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my goodness, why didn't you tell me? I would have worn my open collar shirt.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I probably would have run. I didn't fit in my down vest.
Yeah, notice
anymore.
they had you stand in the back of the room. He was in the sound booth there in the back.
Yeah, I was hiding. No, but so I go up on the stage and I'm the duded up. But anyway, but then I was told, no, it was good for you to be, in your suit and everything. I think they were humoring me. But so I'm the only guy in a suit. Everybody else is in casual attire, But I will say it was a great crowd. I mean, the crowd was great, lively. I'd say there were probably 1,000 people in there.
Randy Crable said several hundred.
Yeah.
Several hundred.
Well, yeah, 10 is several hundred.
And I want to talk about the reputation Tulsa has for political rallies at some point. Yeah. Go ahead, your story.
But it was a really good crowd. Afterwards, I don't know if you stayed around, but what happened at the side of the stage, they did an interview, the media, and then Youngkin and Kevin
press conference,
did this conference there on the side of the stage, and with all the people holding their signs up. And it was pretty cool. They were standing there, and the news media was asking questions. So it was recorded by Fox. Fox News was there.
Yeah, Fox News channel.
They were the only ones that were there, and we had a it was a good night. But it was Governor Stitt, and then Ryan Walters was there. Mark Wayne Mullen was there. Elena Ashley was
talked
there.
Education. Notice the themes of some of the undercard. Kevin McDougal spoke veterans issues.
Right. The mayor of Broken Arrow was there.
Sheriff Regalado and three other sheriffs stood with him.
3 other sheriffs
talking law enforcement.
And so it was a good night though. Everyone was very enthused. And what got me though is just how nice and how laid back. I mean, it's so different of a picture that you would get from people in that position because there are, and Governor Youngkin at the end, he such a down-to-earth guy. He stopped and he'd take a picture with you and speak with you. I got to talk and get my picture taken with him at the end. Yeah, you had left, but
I did the picture early on with you and Governor Stitt.
Right,
I figured,
but
I may not get another chance.
I got one of his people, his little assistant or something. He got a picture of me and Governor Glenn Youngkin. So that was nice, but it was just sometimes funny you get a picture with it and you're there like this and they're there. But no, it was like he was like engaged in the photo. I mean,
sure.
But no, it was a very, very good night all around, and a lot of enthusiasm. That's what really excited me. And people that I was really excited, I didn't even know were there. Sharon Doherty. Billy Joe Doherty's, late Billy Joe Doherty's wife was there. I saw her. She called me out. Oh, hey, Sharon. And different people all throughout the audience that I was surprised to see that, but very happy to see there and excited to see there were there. And later on, people told me that they were there, and that was very exciting. So it was a good night. So it gives me a lot of hope and a lot of anticipation for this Tuesday. So I just do hope. And again, the important thing is for us to pray. I trust Oklahomans. I really pray that our state is smart enough and has enough wisdom and discernment to know that something is trying to be pulled on us, and that we're able to overcome the tricks of the other party and what's going on.
Yeah, I give high marks to the people who put that together, Danelle and her team, and Josh Cockcroft really played a key role in just the logistics, the flow of it.
Yeah, and I do have to say this too. Yeah, Josh, you could tell he was, you're always, because I used to do concerts and and you're uptight the whole time. But what's good is that he was so easygoing. Go with the flow. A lot of times people like that can be real jerks.
Yeah.
And he was not a jerk at all. He was very pleasant, very, very good guy.
Yeah, Josh, is kind of a boy wonder. A young kid, early 20s, gets elected to the legislature. And when he left, and he actually decided not to run again. He was in leadership. He held the gavel for a lot of their floor sessions, and he's been in pastoral ministry a long time. So his skills.
How old is this guy?
He might be 30 now.
Wow, he looks like he's probably about 27. 28,
yeah, young and very young looking.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was going to say.
So, but the interesting thing for me, I'm known kind of in that circles. I've probably done more presidential campaign events in Oklahoma than anyone. You know, going all the way back to '92, Pat Buchanan's different things. And so, we talked about it. I give them high marks. That was one of the best run. Cockcroft, I asked him, I said, are you going to keep doing this? And he said, I don't know. Cockcroft could do very well like this. Wow. But here's what I want to say about the legend that Tulsa has. We've always done better than Oklahoma City when it comes to campaign rallies, the big rallies.
Did you look at the video? Because there's a video. I'll send you the link. They have both videos on the Facebook link. And there's the Oklahoma City. I haven't looked at the Oklahoma City one. I watched ours.
Right. The day before, they had Ted Cruz in Oklahoma City. And they probably had one of the best Oklahoma City presidential campaigns.
But you haven't seen it?
I haven't yet. I've heard it was well attended, very well attended. In fact, Josh told me he thought maybe there were more people at Ted Cruz.
Well, Wednesday is church night, too.
That's true.
That's
and so Cruz was there on Tuesday. So, but here's what I wanted to get to. Nobody speaks just by accident. Microphone time is carefully orchestrated, especially when you go watch, say, the Republican National Convention. People spend a lot of money and trade in a lot of favors to get microphone time. All right. Youngkin was there for a reason. And I mentioned from the green room, I said, I think this guy's going to run in 24 for president. And the next morning, I'm watching Newsmax, and that was the buzz. There's talk of Youngkin running in 24. Wonder did that happen. If Youngkin does well in a crowd like Tulsa, Tulsa's set up perfectly for Youngkin to kind of do a test run, see how well he does in that kind of speech. And I think he did. And I don't know that Youngkin desperately wants to run. But I think he desperately wants to see how plausible it is.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone is really planning on winning in 24. That's what I understand.
That's a good point, Eddie.
Right.
Go there.
The real race is going to be in 28.
Yes.
And so a lot of these people are using 24 as a test run to see who comes out of there on top. Whether it's DeSantis, Youngkin, or whoever. Right. And so that's what's going to be, because I don't know if you basically DJT, the Donald, for those of you that want to know, he essentially on the other night, he had a rally.
Same night, I think.
Yeah, it was that or Thursday night.
Maybe it was Thursday.
Yeah, I think it was Thursday. He essentially announced that he is running for re-election in 24. So he made it early, which is interesting because everybody expected him to do it right after the election, but he decided to jump I guess he couldn't hold it anymore.
Yeah. So here's what happens. Let's take John McCain. Came in second in 2000. The next time there was an open seat, he was the heir apparent, right? It was his turn. That's the term. Romney ran in 08, came in second. In 12, it was his turn. You see where we're going? This is kind of how the Republican establishment looks at things. So whoever wins, or whoever comes in second in 2024, becomes the inside favorite in 28.
Yeah, but here's the good news, everybody. We've got right now 2 governors. After Tuesday, maybe 3 or 4. We've got Carrie Lake she wins. She's another very viable. And one of my personal favorites, Kristi Noem, South Dakota. She's another one. I mean, just our on deck, our bench. Let's put it our bench. The bench is so strong that it's just amazing.
Yeah, our
compared. Yeah, well, different sports.
Right,
okay?
right.
But our bench pen.
Yeah.
Our bull bench.
Yeah.
No, it's so strong compared to the Democrats. They still got Hillary hanging out there with her. Just somebody drag her off into the pasture or something, please, somebody. But anyway, it's so strong, it's unbelievable. I mean, because we've got these people that are really, really strong. I don't think Cruz needs to, and Pence, go away, go bye. You've had your chance, Mike. See ya. We want this young, fresh blood. Glenn Youngkin is an impressive person. First of all, he's like 6'5". The guy's huge. I mean, you know how tall I am. Well, I'm short up against this guy. I mean, he's really tall, but he's an impressive figure. Ron DeSantis is an impressive figure. But while I like both of those guys, call me the antithesis of a male chauvinist pig, I'm ready for a woman president. And I think I would love nothing more than to see the GOP have the first woman president. And would it be Kristi Noem or Carrie Lake? I think Kristi Noem would be better for one reason and one reason alone, and that is she's smoother than Carrie. Now, Carrie Lake is Donald Trump's spirit in a female body.
Yeah.
She's smooth. I mean, I love this. Don't get me wrong. I love Carrie Lake, but she is boom. So maybe I wouldn't be disappointed. I would not be disappointed. And who knows if Kristi Noem even wants it. But in fact, it would be wonderful. Can you imagine the two of them on the debate stage? I'd love it. I'm saying,
yeah, popcorn. Here we go.
No, but and the guys just back up and just start. Yeah, can you imagine the guys on stage with him just back up watching these two? No, but seriously, my pecking order. And you remember when you and I first met and were doing battle, my pecking order was Ben Carson, then Ted Cruz, and then Marco Rubio. I started to say Marco Polo. Marco Rubio, and then, dare I say it?
The Donald.
No, Bush.
Oh.
I even had Bush above Donald.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's how far down Trump was, but jumped right up. Trump jumped to the top and just, as soon as Carson was gone, it's funny, Donald just jumped up and what did it? I don't know if I told this. It was the Rolling Stone when he was watching, what was the former HP CEO? What's her name?
Oh, yeah. Would you vote for that face?
Would you vote for that face? And they asked him, did you really say that? Because apparently it hadn't been recorded or anything.
Yeah.
And the guy said it, and Donald said, yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
Although I didn't like that he said it, see, what spoke to me about Donald Trump is not the things he said, but the fact that he would admit that he said it.
Yeah.
See, that's what it, because I said, oh, he's not going to admit, and he said, yeah, I said.
Yeah. Trump does not retreat.
He does not. He admits when he does something, and I said, wow. I've never heard. Or like when the South Carolina debate, when he attacked George W. Bush in South Carolina, which was Bush country. And I even thought at that, just before the primary during the debate, I said, oh, stick a fork in him. He's done. And then he comes and wins by landslide in the primary. I said, oh, it's over. He's got this. Because the people, I think other people all of a sudden realized this guy plays by totally different rules. He's not afraid of anything. And so that it just showed me a very different kind of candidate, one that is fearless. He's not afraid to really tell you what he thinks. Whereas you've got these other candidates who say what they think. Some advisor told him, okay, our focus group said you got to say this and this, and Trump doesn't go by those rules.
No. And, Mr. Low Energy, he really sealed his demise with 2 words. Please clap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, why? Oh.
You're going to have to Google that, okay? Please, Bush, please clap.
I don't know what it was this week, but there was something that Trump did or said, and they attacked him, and Jeb Bush came to Trump's defense.
Whoa!
Yeah, I was shocked. That's what I should have. But there was something. Jeb Bush actually came out and defended Donald Trump on something this week. So times they are changing. I think Jeb is realizing. He said, as Popeye said, that's all I can stands. I can't stands no more.
Yeah.
I mean, I think slowly people that are legitimate. See, here's the thing about Jeb Bush. I think Jeb Bush is a good man. I've never doubted that. I think Jeb Bush is a good man. I don't think he was the right man for the job.
Yeah.
But I do believe he's totally a very good man. He has good intentions, but the presidency with the nation in the state that it's in, it needs a tough-nosed, hard person.
Yeah. It also signals with the loss in the Texas AG race of Prescott Bush. That's the end of the line for that Bush Camelot bunch. It's over.
You're talking about Pepe.
I thought his first name was actually Prescott, named after his great-grandfather. But it's the one that ran for the AG in...
Yeah, it's Pepe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway...
George P.
It's
right. What's his name, son?
Well, yeah. I thought years ago he went by the name Prescott because... George, how many Georges are there in the room?
Yeah.
His dad is, his uncle.
Yeah, maybe they just call him Pepe, but I thought it was George Pepe. Maybe it is Prescott. I don't know, but I've always known him as Pepe. George Pepe Bush.
Yeah, because, I'm old enough to remember H.W. Bush's father, Prescott, was a U.S. Senator from, I think it was Rhode Island or whatever. But anyway, so I think that's it. And I would agree with you. I did get a chance, through my former state senator, Don Rubottom, went to work, became the clerk of the Florida House, and became a good friend of Jeb. And Jeb wanted me to organize his Oklahoma campaign, so we met at the SRLC. And it was the one thing everybody said is he was a very good governor of Florida. And you know what? A long line of very good Republican governors, and DeSantis is just another one.
Right.
They have a system that doesn't fail. And I wish Oklahoma had even close to that, because Fallon just got worse and worse in office. And I don't want to see Stitt's second term be anywhere close to the direction the other one.
Yeah. And, Fallon is the one who cost Barisi her job, because Barisi, she would not deviate. She fell on the sword for Mary Fallon.
She was too loyal.
She would not deviate from that Common Core thing. That was Mary Fallon's deal, trying to follow Jeb Bush. And I told her, and so many people told her, you got to let it go. Like, she would not do it. And she fell on the sword for Mary Fallon. And it cost her, both of them, their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Barack Obama. He stumped for Fetterman. You probably have heard. You might have seen it. And he also wants to use the term of democracy. The fate of our democracy is on the line. And it's Yeah, just one of many people that wants to claim that the fate of our democracy is on the line. The fate of our democracy is not on the line. As I said, many other people are on the line. In Pennsylvania, it's Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz is on the line. That says Senate for the Senate.
Yep.
And it's interesting. J.D. Vance is taking a lead in Indiana. Mm-hmm. And hopefully Dr. Oz. I think Dr. Oz has a little lead.
I'm looking at it now. The last 3 polls on that race show 2-point Oz, 2-point Oz, and 3-point Oz. So the outlier is a Fetterman plus 6, so that kind of skews it. But yeah, 5 of the last 6 polls in Pennsylvania show Oz with the lead. So
that's good.
So
that's
good. That looks good.
What is Arizona looking like?
McMaster's, he's the one that it's really tough. He's up against a very strong candidate with
Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Kelly's another one that hasn't done anything.
Right.
He's just quiet. He's just there. He's just there. And Masters, it's funny. He's the most laid back. He's like a college guy, and he's very personable. I like him a lot, just because Tucker's really had him on a lot. In fact, they have a whole special on Fox Nation on Masters.
Yeah. So Fox 10 Insider Advantage. I think that's the local Fox affiliate that Kerry Lake used to anchor for.
So.
And they show it as a tie right now. Previous, there were 2 of them that showed Kelly within the margin of error, slightly. So yeah, it's all about getting that vote out, Eddie. Getting that vote out. It's just
seems Herschel is still holding his lead, even with all the bad press.
Yes.
They keep trying to, oh man, I hope so much that Herschel wins. Not just because I want him to win anyway, but what's her name? Who's the goon they keep dragging out? What's her name?
Well, it was running for governor, Stacy.
No, for Senate. The lawyer.
Well, it's Herschel versus Warnock.
No, who is it they keep dragging out with these women?
Oh, Gloria Allred?
Oh,
yeah. And again, it bears repeating.
They need to just bury Gloria once and for all.
Right, but would you rather vote for somebody who some people think might have paid for one abortion, or vote for the guy who wants you and me to pay for all abortions?
Yeah.
That's really what it comes.
See, somebody should have come up with that line for him.
Hello,
dark or light money.
This is why we are required viewing.
Yeah,
right?
Really.
That
really.
and Eddie's monologue at the beginning. Yeah. Okay, if you came in late, watch it.
Yeah. So,
by the way, I want to welcome everybody on our Facebook feed. We've got quite a few people that shared it while you were doing your monologue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, you think anybody's actually watching? Are people actually watching us on Facebook?
We'll see. I'll get some logistics on it.
Okay. But that'd be interesting. We start getting people on Facebook. We better clean up our act and start changing our
I got 2 things on my list here. One was I want to follow up what you said on J.C. Watts, and then we should talk a little bit about what's going on at Twitter.
Okay. Yeah, definitely, Elon. But go ahead.
Yeah, J.C. Watts. I'll start by saying this. I remember when J.C. Watts first left football and he started preaching. I was at one of his first revival meetings at Broken Arrow at the Pentecostal Church of God Church. And so I knew him from there. And I watched him over the years. And J.C., I have to say, he's an opportunist. He finds a message and he knows how to move that message and do it well, okay? Some of my favorite political lines include one of his, where he talked about race-baiting poverty pimps. And Jesse Jackson family just got furious. He said, okay, you resemble that. But I want to say about J.C. Watts, since he left Congress, he's gone the money route of lobbyists, and for a short time, the famous Feed the Children, Larry Jones organization in Oklahoma City. It had collapsed into all kinds of corruption. He took over it, And he did it for a short time, and they fired him. And one of the reasons they said they fired him is he only raised $14,000. And yet, when he sued for his contract, he ended up with almost $2 million. Now, my kids were some of the people who donated. My son mowed lawns to send that $5 a month in. And the fact that they're paying a guy like him for raising $14,000, paying him almost $2 million, I have a problem with that. And he's got a big consulting firm, which is code for lobbyist, public relations.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I met him a couple of times here, and let me just put it this way, I was not impressed. God gives us a spirit of discernment.
Yeah.
And I discerned very early on that this guy is about JC.
Yeah.
It's all about JC.
So I want to say this, and I'm going to...
And this was back,
Yeah.
we're talking probably 25 years
Yeah.
ago, first time, and then again, yeah.
My disappointment with our former political leaders in Oklahoma, I'll put it this way. I said to Jim Bridenstine when he was speaking to us at the Tulsa Republican Assembly, and he was saying this is the last time he's going to run for Congress. And, we talked about what he might or might not do. I said it this way. I said, Jim, the last person to hold your congressional seat, the last Republican, actually the last ever, who moved back to Tulsa and lived amongst us after he served publicly, was Paige Belcher. And I said, now, Jim, I can't promise you anything, but we did name a golf course after him. It brought a laugh to the room. But that's the problem I want to talk about. They all go into lobbying. Jim Jones, and he became, an ambassador to Mexico. Steve Largent made millions running the telecommunications lobby. Frank Keating did the same thing with the banking and that, and now Jim Bridenstine's lobbyist for the aerospace industry. And and actually John Sullivan, I ran into him a couple of years ago. He said, yeah, I'm a lobbyist. He flat out told me honestly what he's doing. These guys cash in on their resume of having to be a congressman and parlay it into making millions as a lobbyist. And I can almost say with certainty, or at least my hunch is this, that endorsement was paid for.
Oh, yeah.
Because he doesn't do that for free.
No, I guarantee you.
That's my gut feeling on it. Can't prove it.
I guarantee you that's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And, some of that $30 million, the last time you lost some money in the slot machine, some of that may ended up in J.C. Watt's pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't go to casinos, Eddie, and I would encourage you guys to rethink where you spend your entertainment dollars.
Okay.
That's how you win this, Eddie. You cut off their funding source. Why do you think that the liberals are going after the oil and gas industry?
Sure.
Because they don't give money to Democrats, they give it to Republicans.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry. I finished with my...
No. I'm with you. But that's a tough one. You're not gonna cut that off. It's like the marijuana thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen. I'm with you on true medical marijuana. I'm there all day.
Yeah.
But for it to be true medical marijuana, go to a doctor, get a prescription, and get your prescription of the it's like testosterone treatments, okay? Mm-hmm. If you need the testosterone, get it through a true doctor or nurse practitioner or whatever. But you can't just go every corner to a clinic. Some guy sitting by, what's up, man? What do you need? Sure, just look here. And they got pipes of all kinds and pills and gummies and, that's a sham, okay? If it's supposed to be medical marijuana, make it medical. Don't let people grow 12 plants in their house, stuff like that. So that's my thing. But stopping it, you're not going to stop it now.
Right.
Not after they've already passed it. And the same with gambling. You're not going to put that genie back in the bottle.
Eddie, what I'm really speaking to more is not necessarily that the outcome would change, but will you be one who is part of the problem or part of the solution? Because you can at least control your dollar.
Yeah, that's true. But But man, that's tough. I mean, probably most of the people that are out there gambling are not watching our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you go in, you smell the smoke. You know, it's another thing. They got these anti-smoking commercials, but you walk into a casino and it's just full of smoke. Why is it that, you know, that's another thing, you know, you got all these anti-tobacco commercials. You're not allowed to smoke in any restaurants, but you go into a casino and it's like Smoke City. Yeah. You know, I mean, they're able to violate all the rules that the rest of us can't violate.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone would keep me out of a casino. I don't even like to go to the Cherokee casino to watch a concert because they make you walk through the casino to get to the hall, and by the time you get there, you feel like you want to shower because you're smelling like smoke.
Yep.
You know, those things. So, okay. We want to talk about Elon.
Yeah.
He finally took over Twitter.
Yeah.
And I was ready to buy some stock, but he pulled it private, and so you can't buy anything yet. So, and then of course he fired about half of the staff.
I think he was talking like up to 2/3. We're going to. We don't know what's come up there.
And so a bunch of them, they filed a class action suit saying he didn't give enough notice. Well, he did 3 months ago, saying he's going to let these people go. Now, it wasn't a personal, he didn't let them know who or whom he's going to let go. And I think he's paying a 90-day severance. They're getting a 90.
60 days. Well,
I think
the California law requires 60 days notice.
Right, but I think he's giving. Well, no, yeah, but yeah, he's not necessarily. Well, it's not 60 days, but he's, I think, paying a 9. Yeah, it is a 90-day severance because it's now, but he's paying them all the way through February.
Yeah. So what they're trying. This is really telling. Because the way the law was written, at least how it was reported on, if it's accurate, was that you cannot terminate their employment in California for 60 days, which begs the question, are they fighting for the money or are they fighting for the access to sabotage the system? See, so if he pays them but keeps them locked out, you know, I mean, guarding the code, guarding all of the backdoor accesses and stuff. That's the thing right now.
That's smart.
Because I think Elon, this is just me speculating here. He went ahead with the deal at the exorbitant price, probably because he said, if I get access to everything, then I can build my fraud case. And I can get much of that $44 billion back, you know, in the courts.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking might be one of his angles.
Well, because I don't know if you knew, but I heard what he did. He brought in his top tech people from Tesla.
Yes.
And SpaceX, which, I mean, you got to be geniuses. So he brought these top people in from there into Twitter, and they're going through everything. So, again, stay tuned. But I don't think they stand a chance. Now, they're going to try to bring this suit, of course, in California and go up to the Ninth Circuit, and he'll keep appealing, you know. But, I mean, I don't see where they stand a chance if he's paying them their full salaries and everything for 90 days, and he only has to give them 60 days notice. Where's the beef?
Right. Yeah, because you can assign them to do their work outside the building, for instance. Right. And you can still say,
well, you're getting paid.
Yeah, go rake leaves down at the park.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's basically, you want 60 days? Okay, stay home, and do whatever. I'm paying you for the 60. Oh, you want 60 days? Okay. Cut them off the end of January. In other words, I gave you 90 days. Okay, we'll make it 60. I mean, that's what I would do, come back. Sure. Instead of 90 days severance, I'm giving you 60, and I'm giving you 60 days notice.
Well, and I think those severance pays, usually there's with an exit contract that says, okay, we'll pay you this under certain conditions and that. And so even the lawsuit itself might negate that severance agreement.
Yeah.
You know,
that would be really funny if there's a clause like that in there now, and they lose the 90 days severance too.
Yeah. There's an angle of this I wanted to tie on. Last night, I saw a story on Fox 23. I'm going to name names. It was the most lopsided thing, anti-Elon Musk, because they talked about, without all these censors in place, they've gutted all of this, and now there's going to be things on there that are not curated and censored, and there's going to be irresponsible speech going on. Yeah. Folks, pay attention. Our local media, particularly
Fox.
our TV and our radio, they're not our friends, conservatives in Oklahoma. They are not.
And Fox apparently is the worst I've heard.
Yeah, they are showing. Now, when you and I were in the sound booth the other night at the Stitt rally, the guy standing to the side in the corner, that was a Fox News anchor. He was there. And you know what? He was laughing and enjoying. I felt like he personally probably was really kind of on our side. Because, I mean, he responded positively to some great points. I think there are some good people there. I think it's management. Sure. Take Pat Campbell, your friend. You know where Pat Campbell stands. I know where he is. But the Griffin people that controlled him,
right.
they silenced him.
Yeah.
You know, that's where our real enemy is. It's the producers, the executive producers. And they're not on our side. So, by the way, on that, one of the good guys is coming in next week, and folks don't want to miss it. Randy Crable of the Tulsa World. Probably I would put my money on him as the best journalist in Oklahoma.
We're going to do some post-election coverage.
Yes.
Dissecting everything.
Yeah, he texted
That's
me.
if I'm still here. I may pack up my bags and I may move to Tennessee.
Because I called you right after. He said, okay, let me get back to you. And then he texted me back. He says, my schedule looks good. I'll see you next Saturday morning. So
you
don't
looking
want to miss
it.
it.
Randy's good. We always have fun when Randy's in.
By the way, remember the young farmer who spoke agricultural issues at the rally? You had to send me to go find out. How do you pronounce it? Hukel? Yeah. Randy said, that's my niece.
Yeah, right. That's right.
I had no idea that. Yeah. Randy said she's very involved with farm.
Excuse me, forgive me. The young lady, not the girl. The young lady. Yeah, she's a state rep, isn't she?
No. She just got
she's a farmer. Right,
she's got a master's degree in agriculture.
In agriculture. From OSU?
I believe so. And she's...
Or did she go to a real ag school, Texas Tech?
Maybe it was Iowa State.
Iowa State, yeah. That's even worse in Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No, actually, the med school at Iowa State was actually founded by one of my wife's great-great-great-grandfathers.
Did you know
Carter.
that's where... it was close. I was going to say, George Washington Carver graduated from Iowa State.
Oh, okay.
That's where he got his degree.
Their egg program. Yeah. In fact, my niece, she and her husband both graduates there. He got a master's degree in golf course management.
At Iowa State.
They have a degree in golf course.
Yeah. It's funny how certain schools you don't understand or realize what the true potential is. In other words, how good they really are, and what they really have to offer. You just think Iowa State or Texas Tech, UCO, University of Central Oklahoma. It's one of the top pharmaceutical or pharmacological, I guess, if you want to be a pharmacist. Schools in the country. I mean, they probably put out more pharmacists in at least in this state than any place else. UCO.
Yeah.
So,
but this gal, Hugo, she actually has a business in irrigation products, and she's given Monsanto a run for the money. They grow seed wheat and special. I guess it's not really a hybrid because it's an organic. Use the same seeds, right? And so Anyway, but yeah, Randy, I said, so how come I guess she didn't mention Randy Crable. He says, no, I'm probably not being a Tulsa World guy.
And so you're going to out him. You're going to out him.
Anyway, but no, Crable's a good guy, and I knew him because he grew up in that area. I spent a summer doing a wheat harvest back in '81 out there and got to know a lot of people. In fact, she and I knew a lot of the same people. My roommate, my second-year Bible college, was from her hometown of Hinton. So anyway. Hinton, Oklahoma.
Not Hinton.
Yeah.
Hinton, Oklahoma.
Yeah, so anyway, the media in Oklahoma, I'm sorry, folks, they're pretending to be one of us.
Particularly in the big cities. They've been bought out. They've sold out. Yeah, it's tough anywhere these days getting media to be neutral. To be. I would accept just neutrality. Just what is it that the guy on Dragnet used to say?
Just the facts.
Just the facts. Just the facts. Yeah. That's all I want. That's all any of us want with the news. I don't want it to be conservative. I don't want it to be liberal. I don't want just tell me what the facts are, what the news is. This is what happened. This is when it happened. This is where it happened. Fox's old thing. We report, you decide. They're no longer just reporting. They're deciding for you. And it's sad. And even Newsmax does it. You can't. I don't care who they are. One ONE, they're all, you go to what's the black there's the black channels, BET. Yeah. You forgot I'm Republican. I'm not black anymore. I didn't vote for Biden, so I'm not black. No, yeah, BET and ONE, I guess, is a black. I think ONE is black. What's the conservative one? One News Network.
Yeah, OAN. One American News.
Yeah. ONE is another black competitor to BET. So yeah, OAN is what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
OAN. All of them, they all seem to have. So I tend to bounce. I don't watch MSNBC and I don't watch CNN. I just But between the others, I still get enough balance, I think.
Okay, so this brings me into the last thing I hope to get at today. Give me a handful, your top 5, and I'm talking national, local, state, all that. Can you throw out some names there? Who do you go to get informed?
For my information, I'm going to go, I pick and choose, and it's within the networks, okay? So I like to go to Tucker. Mm-hmm. Okay, my number one, I start my day with the Money Honey.
Maria
Bartiromo, Fox Business. Mm-hmm. And I go all the way through, what's the name? The British, it goes from 5 a.m., I get about 6. So 6 to 8, it's Maria. Mm-hmm. And then right after Maria, Stuart Varney. Yeah. Stuart Varney. So I watch Varney until I go to work. And at work, I can actually get in. I have a TV there, so I'll have it going in the background. So I watch Fox Business in the mornings.
Yeah, they're solid conservative, right?
Solid. I mean, that is the most, and probably neutral.
Yeah.
I mean, they give you the news. Now I have to say, Maria Bartiromo is probably as right-wing as you're going to. I mean, you can't get a Democrat anymore because she has cut them into pieces so badly in the back. She won't. I mean, they'll try to ignore her, and she won't let them. No, stop. I asked you this question.
Yeah.
And they'll no. I want you to answer this question. She won't let them obfuscate or anything. Mm-hmm. She's very or if they'll try to tell someone, no, I'm not buying that. This is Maria, that is one of the most conservative shows on television. Mm-hmm. Maria, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. And what's good about that is, at Fox Business in general, excuse me, is that they put it in the framework of economics and your money and how it really affects you
right
in your daily life. That's what's good, because you're getting actual economic figures and information, and how what's going on in government is affecting your money. That's why. And if you don't, you need to start watching Fox Business Channel. And then in the evening when I come home from 5 to 6, I watch Elizabeth McDonald from 5 to 6, also on Fox Business.
Mm-hmm.
And then from 6 to 7, I switch to Newsmax.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
their evening lineup. Well, that's
Rob
Schmidt
from 6 to 7, and then I go to Tucker
mm-hmm.
from 7 to 8, and then I'll watch either Prime or some
Okay,
or
so that's
Newsmax.
where you get your national stuff.
But then again, at 9 o'clock, I go over and watch Greg Kelly.
Yeah, solid guy. He used to be on Fox. So did Rob Schmidt.
Yeah. And that's my jumping around, getting for the day.
And you're getting national stuff primarily there.
Right.
Have you any sources on state stuff in local?
I don't get a lot. Oh, that usually what I'll do, I'll go to the Tulsa World
mm-hmm.
online.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll
mm-hmm.
I'll read the Tulsa World. I mean, that's pretty much the
Yeah.
only place that's really the only place I can go get anything on local. Sometimes I will go. Facebook used to have Channel 6. They used to be on, and they would pop up, and I would read stuff, and
Yeah.
I would argue with them on their
Mm-hmm.
Facebooks. I love doing that. I think they may have cut me off because
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen them pop up lately. But
Yeah.
but I mean, they didn't block me or anything. But it used to just pop up. It doesn't pop up anymore.
Yeah, because Channel 6, and I've gotten to know several of their journalists, and they're encouraged to, hey, you do a story, you share it on social media,
Mm-hmm.
as well as put it in our,
Right.
And
And I appreciate that they let you get on and comment on
Mm-hmm.
it and all that. That is good, And, especially during COVID is when I was really getting into it
Yeah.
with some of their commenters and stuff.
Yeah. All right, can I talk about mine?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that's all the time. Go ahead.
I'm an early morning Newsmax guy, and so I like them. At 9 o'clock, though, I got to go over there to Steve Bannon on Real America's Voice. Fantastic stuff to find out the political scene and that. But in the morning, while I'm sitting having my coffee, my laptop's open. Of course, I go to soonerpolitics.org. That's a great site. Whoever started that's just amazing. Okay, so
Wait a minute, aren't you writing it?
I'm the curator of it. I started it 8 years ago.
Right.
So, but here's kudos to Jane Randall, a mom now living in Tulsa. Last I've talked to her, I only talked to her through Twitter, and that. But she started a state version of the Drudge Report. It's called Oklahoma Report. Folks, she does fantastic because she does it much like the Drudge Report, but she just curates Oklahoma news, Tulsa World, Oklahoman, all the TV shows. Now, she just does it Monday through Friday, so over the weekend, you're stuck with whatever she put up Friday morning. She's just going to limit it. She's a mom. She's a new mom. But anyway, so you're going to see all of that. Oh, and she covers Oklahoma college sports big time. She probably has the best stuff. If you're following, the OSU Cowboys or the OU Sooners, it's going to be on there.
Wow,
and then her third column over, she kind of highlights national news and stuff. So you get state news, you'll get some sports, Oklahoma sports and that. That's about as perfect as I can find for covering that. But in the car, I'm back to KRMG radio for local stuff.
Yeah, I listened to KRMG too. I forgot. I wasn't even thinking radio, but I listened to KRMG as well.
Yeah. So between, my TV, is coming Newsmax and Real America's Voice, almost exclusively that. Mostly because I'm too cheap to pay for cable TV. Oh, by the way, one other site I'm going to mention to you, it's called Citizen Free Press. Again, it's a spin-off of what Drudge does, but he does it even better. And there's certain links he always has on there, including Tucker Carlson's evening opening.
Oh, yeah. That's
So the link is right there. I don't have to go looking through YouTube to find it. It's right there.
Now, that's a national one, though.
That's a national one.
By the way, speaking of Drudge, he's kind of gone leftist.
Yeah,
it's weird. I wonder what happened to him.
He gets bought out. Whether the ownership's still in his name or not is immaterial. He's been bought out. Yeah. Okay. So he sold his soul and sold his website. But yeah, so Citizen Free Press. There are a few others like that. I still go to Breitbart. You know, there's not going to be as many stories, but they dig deeper. And there's a few others.
I'll go to the Daily Caller. I do the Daily Caller as well, and I do Glenn Beck's. The
Blaze.
The Blaze. I'll do the Blaze. Blaze and Daily Caller are pretty much the only other ones I do. But I like these. I'm going to check out.
Yeah, I've got about 10 of them, but, you know, it's just real quick. GBnews is usually where I catch up on what Nigel's saying about, you know, European news. Populist Press is another Drudge type national thing. The Revolver, they do a little more investigative journalism, especially on the COVID stuff. Whatfinger, InfoWars, I'm not ashamed to stand with Alex Jones. And then the Ronald is the newest one.
The Ronald.
I like the Ronald. And
can you get any good deals on the McRib?
No, but there's a lot of people doing that kind of, like the Drudge Report. Right. And I'm glad, you know, give them, you know, something. So anyway, now you guys have some new things to surf. In fact, why don't I put these links that you mentioned, I mentioned, let's put them in our show notes for today. Sure. So, good.
All right, everybody. That's it for another Saturday. Hope you enjoyed it. Above all, though, the first 30 minutes of the show today, be sure to listen and be sure to heed. Go vote. Vote Republican. If you can, vote straight ticket. And if not, at least the important ones, okay? It's very important. It's very, very important. And we thank you for tuning in, and we hope we'll see you again real soon.